Hello, YouTubers, Warhammer fans. This is Remington, and just before we start the show, I just want to pay tribute to one of our brethren, one of our brothers at arms, Martin, who was the gaming partner of Mr. Reef Beastman, and just found out last night that he'd passed away of a heart attack, and after not hearing from Mr. Reef for quite a while, it was a real sudden shock to hear about the passing of his best mate, really. And over the years, these two have provided a kind of a comedy Warhammer gaming tabletop battling duo. I liken them to the famous Morecambe and Wise, and Martin was like Eric Wise. He was the kind of the straight guy, the foil for Mr. Reef's comedy genius. And I was lucky enough to meet Martin. In fact, it was 3 years ago that the two of them invited me up for some gaming fun at Warhammer World. And he was a very gracious gamer, and he basically allowed me and Reef to pile on all our beastmen, and we're talking hundreds of models against, a withering Empire army. And we had a really good laugh. And it was around this time that I come across the name they called themselves, and that was Bottom Table Dwellers. And it wasn't just a name, it wasn't just a pun, because they always found themselves at the bottom tables, at the lowest rung of the ladder when it comes to the gaming events. It wasn't that, it was more of an institution. It was more of a way of playing the game, about having a laugh, about not being too competitive, about inviting new players to join, and not being a stickler for inches and rules. And the way they were got me into Warhammer, because it's such a complicated, well, it used to be such a complicated rule system. Meeting these guys just made it fun and made it open. And Martin was a big part of that. And there's dozens and dozens of battle reports and commentaries and observations and just kind of comedy talk shows that these two presented, and I was lucky enough to be kind of a part of it in a way, and that's what they were all about. So it's really sad, perhaps there isn't a bottom table in the world above us. Maybe Martin's at the top table where he belongs. That's our tribute to our dear friend Martin. And if Mr. Reef is watching this, God bless you, my friend, and I hope we see you soon.
As far as people like us are concerned, who aren't necessarily the most competitive players, then the Bottom Table Dwellers was probably top tier while being on the bottom table in terms of wargaming entertainment. It's exactly the kind of show that we like. It was laid back. They would just have a laugh. The top tier. You could tell being on the bottom table. You could tell that Martin was always kind of suppressing, giggling quite a lot of the time. One of those people that reminded me of the way I would behave sometimes if I'm trying to keep a straight face. So you could tell he was laughing inside, but he didn't necessarily want to let on that he was laughing at one of Mr. Reefy's jokes. And it was a very fun dynamic they had.
When it comes to actually playing the game, Mr. Reef being the beastman, he'd always charge his forces forward. I mean, what else can you do with no shooting attacks? And Martin's most famous army, I'd say, was his Tomb Kings, and he basically used to just hold them back. And he was a very conservative player, but it used to frustrate Mr. Reef so much as the casket of souls was opened, and Martin's casket took many a beastman's soul, believe me.
Yeah, so we're just going to have to assume that his soul is swirling around in the great casket beyond now, aren't we? And with that, the show must go on.
It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show on a Tuesday night. It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show for your home delight. talking about Age of Sigmar and everything else that is cool. Talking about Warhammer fantasy, it's easy to learn the rules. It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show on a Tuesday night. It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show for your home delight.
Good evening, Mr. Rem.
Hello, Mr.
You missed last week's show, didn't you? Do you want to offer any excuses to the audience? Because I did put out there that maybe you were working on a slightly different book to the one most of us have been poring over recently.
Yeah, I did see that. And I can't believe all you people out there took Andy's word for that, what I was doing. He has no idea what I'm doing. He's 3 hours drive away, well, two, if you drive like me. No, I have a big show coming up. I've got a festival show, and we're playing with some pretty good bands, Noel Gallagher and the Editors and the Hives and the Madness and my friend's band Fun Loving Criminals. So we have to produce a stunning show, and to do that we had to rehearse. So we rehearsed last Tuesday and last night as well. So I'm feeling the effects of that today. A lot of new stuff come down the pipe this week, right, Andy?
Indeed. Now, on the subject of rehearsals, of course, this show is heavily rehearsed. Mr. Remington is well known for getting here at least 2 hours before start time, so we can go over every point in intimate detail. We have entire PDF documents of bullet points that we have to go through, just to make sure the show runs smoothly. So before we jump into the new stuff, shall we say hello to the audience? Let's see who we've got on the fabled active users list tonight. So we have Andrew Harris, Bazooka J Rambo, Darth Plagueis 101, Drunken _ Elf, the #1_ in the community, I Don't Know 46, Christopher 82, Mickey Genver, No Clucks Given.
New one, that.
Yeah, very chickeny kind of name there. Sebastian Blau, Skeleton Flower, YouTube Newbie. Anyone else popped up while I was talking? Paul Bentley. That new one as well. Oh, there's Holy Backyard Prophet, Slugger Boys, WC3. So, hello everybody tonight. Now then, Mr. Remington, shall we dive straight into something that's going to interest you greatly?
Yes, do it.
Right, check this out. The BONESPLITTERZ are coming.
Ooh, wow. So we just thought orcs were now, the Iron Jaws, but we were wrong. You've also got the Wild War.
Now, this is quite consistent with what GW have been doing with their Age of Sigmar releases. They'll release a shiny new range of models, which with the new Sylvaneth, and then they'll kind of repackage and give you some new tasty rules for an existing range of models, which were the Savage Orcs, which are, of course, now these guys here.
Nice.
The BONESPLITTERZ. So it looks like they're coming very, very soon. Now, you looked over this picture and you said that there probably weren't new models in it. Are you standing by that at the moment?
I think we're going to have to zoom in because I couldn't find any new models, but I thought that one might be a little different from the others. As you can see at the back, you've got some Savage Orc Boar Boys, and I can't see the famous Savage Orc Shaman, which I always thought was a pretty cool model, holding aloft a skull. Or can I? Yes, you can. Yeah, at the front.
There's a shaman down here, isn't there?
Shaman. But
the bone in his mouth.
That one you're pointing out, I've not seen that model before. Maybe zoom in a bit more. We're seeing lots of Savage Orcs in that kit where you can make them with their feral bows or their spears or with 2 weapons. But that guy at the front, I'm probably mistaken, but I don't think I've seen him before.
It's entirely possible they might release a new character. If anyone knows whether there's anything new or not on this image, let us know. But those boars, they look way better than the way old Orc Boar Boys that I remember from back in the day.
No, I don't know. I think, yeah, they're the ones you get with the, I mean, that one at the front, that comes just with that Savage Orc Shaman. It's pretty expensive kit, that one. But yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering, my first thought was what new models are they going to be? Because you're thinking, you're thinking a big monster. You got the Arachnorak for the Gobos, and you've got the big, I don't know what you call it, what's that big crab-like thing killed again?
I don't recall.
Gargantuan. I can't remember. Behemoth. It is a behemoth. It's a big thing. Someone's bound to type it in any second.
You think they're actually going to get any new models then?
I hope so. I think they could do with a shaman on foot, because the shaman they've got is on a boar, and don't know. In the old rules, you kind of didn't want that. He used to get shot down, but perhaps he'd be a bit more protected in this one. So yeah, we're looking for new models, and I'm surprised if there won't be any.
They did release that air traffic control guy who's dressed kind of like these, though, didn't they?
Yeah, and I bought the Iron Jaws Shaman model with the flame coming out of the skull, which is pretty cool. And I was going to use him for my Savage Orcs, because I have a Savage Orc army. So he does fit okay. So I think they'll produce 2 new models for this. One kind of big champion guy, and one kind of magic-y guy. That's my prediction.
See, I'm not sure, just going on the current form, because the second release in quick succession doesn't normally have new models with it. But you never know. But I assume you are going to get the Battletome,
though. Yeah, I probably will.
Because I've been hearing things about the Battletome as well. And one thing that was mentioned was that they're going to have some new magic spells specific to the BONESPLITTERZ.
Well, that would suggest they're going to bring out a magic model then, right? I mean, look at that picture there. You see the shaman?
I'm not sure, because it could just be the thing they're doing now with Battletomes, putting new spells in there, because people always said that the Age of Sigmar magic system was rather limited. So maybe now is the time, while they've gone into like the General's Handbook, which has added a lot of things as well, like magic items coming back, then maybe this is the time they're going to expand magic and add more spells to everybody in these Battletomes.
Yeah, I mean, there is, come and think of it, there is that famous Orc Shaman. What's his name? He's got that mask on him. What's his name? You could get him on a boar or on foot.
I don't recall.
Oh, you do.
You're supposed to be the Orc expert around here.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at some Savage Orcs now, and that model that was at the front of the picture previously is actually an old model. I've got him up here. It's a metal Savage Orc Shaman. So that's a lot an older model. So yeah, no new models that we've seen yet. Yeah, it's Wurzag, the one I'm thinking of. Wurzag.
Yeah, that's it.
So I suppose you could use him, and in that case, everything's out already, isn't it? That you probably need, barring a big monster.
How many Savage Orcs do you have in total? Do you think you could field just a complete army of them right now?
Well, it depends what you call army. Well, I call an army an army. I mean, I think you refer to an army as more like a skirmish.
Well, maybe you could throw a few monsters in there to ally with them.
Yeah, I have 5 boar boys. I have 20 savages. 10 of them have got bows. 10 of them have got the double weapons. So I kind of can put them together as a 20 or split them up. And I've got some trolls and a couple of heroes. And I just kind of fluff it out with other stuff, like the big crazy squig, mangler squig, and some trolls. That kind of seems like enough usually. So I'm just hoping there's some new stuff with this. But what would you bring out that would be new? You got warriors.
Well, I think just a really, really big Savage Orc, like giant. Yeah. It's giant sized, but it's just a really, really big Savage Orc with like a big loincloth and whatnot. I think that'd be cool.
Not many people went in for the Savage Orc boar boys because they kind of weren't very good, the rules. So maybe they're a bit better now. I can't see them having more than 2 wounds each, though. So you're kind of left thinking, what packs a punch in this army?
You got to be relying on your monsters and such, aren't you? Your trolls to be vomiting on people.
Yeah.
Now, people complained last week because I didn't do any exciting read-throughs of any of the little fluff bits to describe units and so on. So I'm going to read this, but I'm going to read it ignoring any letters that this amateur photographer left off the end there. So we'll see how that turns out. BONESPLITTERZ. the wildest of all the orcs found in the mortal realms. The BONESPLITTERZ are constant, tune with the rolling, violent madness of the war, believing the energy of the war to reside in the souls of monsters. They hunt great beasts across the realms. Right. So they're kind of like the orc slayers then, aren't they? Has that always been a thing that savage orcs like to go after big monsters?
No, not especially. They like just going after anything in large numbers. But I don't think they're especially known for going after the big ones. Maybe that's changed now.
Well, we've got all this here that no one on the internet has managed to read because it's so tiny.
What's that picture at the bottom? Is that the savage orc shape, Borman?
Well, that looks like it'll be a... what was the phrase again? A War Scroll battalion.
Ah.
Yeah, so you'll get a few of those in the book. And can we see the price there? It looks like... Is that £25 maybe?
For the battalion?
For the Battletome. So you'll get battalions in there. You'll probably get the War Scrolls for the units in there as well. You'll get the new spells. You'll get probably artifacts as well, which I think is the name for the new magic items that you can put on unnamed characters.
Well, you know when you say new spells, I always think that's a bit of a joke because they only seem to have one or two spells, don't they?
Well, it seems like they're going to have more now.
There's not like a compendium of spells to choose from.
I read there were 6 new spells in this book.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
So whether they're... Because look here. Lore of the Savage Warg, consisting of 6 spells. Riotous spells at that, for BONESPLITTERZ only.
They're slowly going back to 8th edition, aren't they? It started from ground zero and they're building it up. Speaking of ground zero and New York, I've just read that Mitch is doing a show at the same time as ours. Can you believe that?
What a traitor.
Traitorous.
Right. Look at this as well. This is something that's on the horizon, which is like a mini starter box. What do you think of that? For people who think maybe the actual Age of Sigmar starter box is too much, they can go even smaller.
I like that. That's a nice little Christmas present. And I love the cards. Really like those cards.
Do you know what I do like about this, actually? The fact that you get 2 Retributors in there. Because in the main box, you get 3. But in the General's Handbook, for the new points system, the minimum unit number is 5.
Yeah.
So if you also got one of these boxes, which I assume are going to be quite cheap, if you had any use for the other models, that is, then those 2 would go nicely to round out that unit.
When you say cheap, what are you thinking? I'm thinking 30 quid.
I'm going to say less than that. I'm thinking £20 for this box.
Okay.
What do you think, folks in the audience?
That's a pretty good deal.
Getting started with Age of Sigmar. Yeah, because there were pictures of those other little kits they were bringing out that were designed for little kids to paint your little Timmies and little Timinas out there. Let's have a look at this then. Well, I don't know how anyone can expect us to read that text.
It looked like you got some transfers as well.
Oh, what's this here? Getting started with Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Now that says £5, but I don't know what that includes. Because that box won't be £5. That would be outrageous.
No, that's no way.
Let's see.
I like the kind of what they've done in that middle picture there. It's like a comic, isn't it? It's like a kind of graphic novel style with the big picture and then like the little circles in there. I like that.
Let's see. People are saying that they think it'll be about £25, $50, $33.
It's always more than you think, isn't it?
That's usually the case, yes. It's usually a safe bet to assume that it's going to be slightly more than you would think. Now, should we have a quick look at the pre-order page on the GW website?
Yeah, but before that, have you bought the General's Handbook yet?
I've ordered it, but it hasn't arrived yet.
Ooh.
Now, for some reason, it's trying to deliver to Canada when I'm on the Games Workshop site at the moment. So let's just switch that over, shall we? So we can see some.
Where did you order it from, Andy?
I can't remember, actually. I'll have to check into that.
Might it have been from our sponsors?
It probably wasn't, actually, because their website's down at the moment, which is why they're not currently on our logo or anything. Because we don't want to be driving business to them while the website's down.
Right.
I think I ordered it from Firestorm Games, actually.
Yeah, at my local, they're selling it for, I think, £12 they're selling it for. So I'm going to go down there probably on Thursday. Now, this one, I like the look of this. And the Warhammer club that I've started at my school, they initially, they bought a load of Lord of the Rings miniatures, and they've kind of finally seen sense. And I've got them all into Age of Sigmar. So they're looking for some, I'm going to give them a bunch of my figures, I think, that I haven't painted. I can't bear to see 13-year-olds spend all that money on this stuff, But the Gore Chosen thing, I'm definitely getting that. Because I've been painting my Blood Warriors recently. I've got a little Chaos Band ready for our next encounter, Andy.
Have you? You know what else will be ready for our next encounter?
No?
Almost done. Bum, 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 bum.
Cool, man.
Realm Gates. I just need to do the nice swirliness in the middle there. So it actually looks magical.
On your screen, that looks brilliant.
Yeah, it's a really nice detailed kit, actually. The little soldiers around the top there look really nice, don't they?
Going on there, what do you think the stories is that is going on?
Well, it seems to be that maybe skeletons have poured through the Realm Gate and the humans are fighting them back.
And what interests me is that the warriors look like Norman soldiers a bit. The shields aren't quite right. But...
It might be kind of end times related imagery, actually, because you can see there's like the twin comet of Sigmar coming down there, can't you? And with it being humans against undead.
I think that's fantastic. Now, because you haven't painted the flame bits, Andy, I was watching a painting video from Games Workshop. Yeah, they're brilliant. And they've got this really nice technique of getting an ethereal effect. And that is you just do Ulthuan grey on the flames and then put some of this nitrous oxide on top. Is that what it's called?
I don't know.
Technical paint, but it comes out. It looks...
I don't think they have a technical paint called nitrous oxide.
Don't they? Are you sure?
I'm fairly sure they don't.
Oh, I'm close. Nihilak.
Isn't nitrous oxide what dentists use?
Nihilak oxide. I don't know how you say it. I'm not English. Nihilak. Yes.
Well, so that's going to be exciting times for the next game with those realm gates added in there, on top of the plethora of terrain that we already have.
And the other thing, Andy, I realised it was a whole year since the Age of Sigmar box set come out, and I opened it up and realised I had hardly painted any models out of it. So I thought, well, I might as well, and that's got me to painting this corn stuff. And I was thinking, I actually started reading the actual book for it, and usually I just rely on your wisdom when it comes to these things. And I read it, and it's got all the scenarios that start off, and they're really nicely sequenced. So the first scenario is a Korgorath against the guy with the hammer on the dragon thing. What's his name? Vandus Hammerhand.
Yes, I need to finish painting him, actually. What we can do, if people were demanding that we actually do some Stormcast versus Khorne battles at some point, but we never actually painted any of the Khorne from the starter boxes that we've had until now, so maybe we can actually get some of those in.
Yeah, I thought it wouldn't take too long. In a few hours, we could go through each of those scenarios because they slowly build up in terms of the model count.
We surely could. I just need to get Mr. Hammerhand painted, and then I've got some other Stormcasts sitting over there, partially done. I've just been heavily working on terrain this month. Yeah. So let's see what the audience have been saying.
Nice. Good job on the battle report, by the way, Andy. I really enjoyed.
Oh, did you? Well, let's talk about that then, because people found that very amusing, especially the ending with your slight, should we say, memory lapse when it came to your previous sentence in the song.
What about calling my niece?
Yeah.
It just come out, mate. The lyrical genius just pours forth from me. I don't even have to think about it.
Well, that definitely shows. It shows there's not a huge amount of thinking going on. And also there's going to be an outtakes video from that as well, because people don't know that we tried about 5 different songs for the end of that game. And that was the most successful one. So that should tell you something.
Are you gonna publish those outtakes?
Well, what I'm thinking is people on the Facebook group will have seen that I did a poll for what they would like to see as kind of Patreon exclusive things.
Can we look at the poll, Andy? Can you get it up for us?
I could have a look at it now and see what
they're
saying.
One of them was you doing that famous bum dance, wasn't it?
Well, I'm going to find the poll here and read out how many votes each thing got. So we were looking for things people would like to see as patron exclusive rewards, because obviously it's nice to pay back the people that pay money to get our battle reports made. So there were 10 votes for the high quality Andy and Rem show soundtrack, which is definitely being a thing whenever you are available to create that. And whenever I am available to create my additional bonus tracks, shall we say, which are going to be the star attraction.
Yeah.
A few people looking at T-shirts, but we're thinking we're definitely going to have some T-shirts available, but we're not sure whether they'll be patron-related T-shirts or whether they'll just be on a separate website that people can just order.
Yeah.
Another thing that got a few votes, people are interested in seeing our scenarios from our games written up and maybe tweaked for balance, because once we've played them, we realise actually we could have changed this, this, and this to make it more fair.
I like that idea. And we could put in some. We could send them as a PDF with photos, just like Games Workshop do, and then you'll be able to see my forces overwhelming Andy's.
Well, that doesn't usually happen. Occasionally. Oh, someone just asked to join the Andy and Rem Show Facebook group just as we're discussing it. So I think there's probably a connection between those two things. So I'm going to approve that membership right now. There we go. Okay, and then Rem's Laundry actually got 4 votes.
That's impressive. I would happily do a live cam of that.
A live cam of you sending people your laundry, or a live cam of you doing your laundry?
Doing my laundry.
I'm not sure whether people actually want your laundry or whether they want a video series of your laundry being done. If they actually want it, then I suppose, depending on the pledge level, if they're pledged to give, let's say, $5 per month, maybe you could throw in like a sock every once in a while. If they're up to like $20 or $30 per month, then you're getting into underwear territory, like underpants there, aren't you?
Yeah. Now, I've just got a little rant to say, because a few people write a few smirky comments like, oh, you know, how come it's not a free show and things like that. And I can understand you saying that, but when you're producing content, actually producing content, putting yourself out there on a regular basis, it actually takes quite a lot of time, preparation, love, talent, and it costs a lot of money as well. You may not think it, but it does. You have to stay on top of things. And the pledge level we're on basically just covers the cost of us being able to do things. So,
yeah, because we worked out how many hours go into making one battle report. And if we're doing it here, my house, then there's your traveling, which is about 3 hours each way sometimes, isn't it? Depending on traffic.
Yeah.
Then there's actual playing the game, which is, with the whole videoing and everything, it can take 3 hours, maybe, at least.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we were locals and, you know, I could just pop around your house, it'd be different then, wouldn't it? But yeah, it's actually a bigger commitment than that. And if we were going to a gaming club, you just wouldn't get the same concentrated atmosphere that you can get when we spend a whole day doing gaming, you know.
And also, it takes me about a full day on average to edit one of those battle reports, because there's so many little cuts and rearranging all the little voice clips and putting in all the right images for the character voiceovers and all those little touches that make them stand out from all the other battle reports out there.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Well, the video of me twerking only got 1 vote, so that's probably not going to happen.
I think I voted for you on that.
I don't think you did vote for that, actually. You may be going in there to vote now. The monthly outtakes video didn't get many votes, but it's something that I was probably going to make anyway, So we may just release it to the patrons, or we may just make it completely public. We haven't decided yet. It's funny regardless.
Now, this soundtrack thing, it could turn into a little. I was thinking at first just 1 or 2 songs, and then it kind of expanded, gone to an EP, and it might eventually turn into a whole album. So I've got a recording studio in town, so hopefully it's going to sound pretty good.
We may actually release 1 song per month, something like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, the other thing is that I remember a couple of years ago when I was just a consumer, if you like, and I used to just sort of passively watch people like Malorian and Reef and Once Bitten and things like that, and you kind of smirk at them every now and again. They'd talk about how much time it takes to do these things. It was only until we've been doing this for a year now that you kind of realise what they're on about. So, I would just say, if you try and contribute something to the community, keep it going, because people take the baton, and at some point they've got to pass it on.
We're never passing it on though, so don't even think about it. Now I'm going to look at some of the comments the audience have been dropping in. They've definitely been suggesting that they want to see a show all about laundry. Slackdorf says the Andean Laundry Show, which is very possible. Let's see. Something about naked people in the chat here. It takes on a mind of its own. You look away for 2 minutes and they start talking about nudity and potatoes.
Well, no one's really listening, are they? They're all just sort of painting and whatnot. That's
surely they're listening to this grade A content.
So what else is new then? We've got these orcs with, it's all a blur, isn't it? That's Sylvaneth last week, and I saw a photo of like a competition winning Ilarial, which was a way better paint job than what Games Workshop had done, and theirs was really awesome.
I think I've seen that actually. Have you got it to show to the world?
It's actually on the Age of Sigmar Facebook page. I mean, I think Games Workshop are doing a pretty good job of engaging the fans and listening to them, and showing off what they do. I mean, it's taken them a good few years to get their head around the internet, hasn't it?
It's definitely been a drastic change in their approach to the public and how they're going to interact and engage with them.
Yeah, well, I've got it here, so I will show you. Share it now. So there you go. Let's have a look. Probably not the one you want to see. That one there, Kelly Freiberg, and
even just the base is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, well, she goes into detail about how she made the base as well, and this bit here that looks like dried up soil, she's done that with cork and slate on here. And I've got a little box full of slate, and it was one of Vince Venturella's videos. He said, never leave natural stone its natural colour, because it doesn't look right on a model. It's always better to paint it. And that's what she's done there. And I like the kind of the kind of wet effect she's got in those. What do you call them? Antlers? Pincers?
I think they're more like antlers.
Right. But yeah, I think this paint job is a lot better than the Games Workshop one, because the colours work better together. She looks more like she belongs on that model.
Yeah, it's less like she's just been slapped on top of a giant beetle, isn't it? Yeah,
and that's her talking about how she created it. And there you can see the model in progress. And that looks like spray paints have been used.
There's probably a lot of airbrushing going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's great. Let's go into that. What an awesome model.
Indeed. I assume you're going to have to get one of these just to test yourself and try and paint that at some point.
I don't know. I know I've got so many models to paint. I just can't justify it anymore. I mean, I'm giving away models to kids at the minute. So, yeah, no. I've got to stop myself for a bit. I own almost every Warhammer army at the minute. Or at least an Age of Sigmar force, apart from Lizard Men.
Well, on the subject of armies you own, the General's Handbook, of course, many of the pages of which I have seen, even though I don't own it yet, due to the power of the internet, the point values, of course, are going to be quite a big deal. Like, for example, our last battle report, I worked out roughly how many points we had on each side.
Yeah.
And I thought the Beastmen were going to be drastically outnumbering the Stormcast, but you only had about 15% more points.
What? That's amazing. So if I'd have maybe taken out the unit of Gauls, that might have made it a bit fairer.
The Beastmen are very, very cheap, though. And there's a couple of things I'm going to look at here. In a little game we're going to play called Higher or Lower. So I'm going to go through various units in the General's Handbook, and you tell me if you think they're going to be cheaper or more expensive than the previous unit.
I was going to say, it's not going to be Games Workshop products, is it? Because it would just be higher every time.
Well, if you're talking money, then yes. Okay.
Before you start, Andy, and I love the vibe you're bringing out. MC1 Gamer has now joined the chat, so it's clear his rival show has bombed entirely.
His failed experiment to run directly opposite this show. It was never going to do well, really, was it? So, let's start with some Beastmen units, just to give you a nice, easy start. So, let's start with the Gorgon, which is 220 points. Do you think that the Sigor is higher or lower than a Gorgon?
Oh, well, the Gorgon, you'd say that's going to bring out a lot of attacks. It could probably heal itself. But a Sigor targets enemy wizards and has a big boulder launching attack. Higher or lower? Higher or lower? There's a 50-50 chance. Remington, lower.
Well, you are right, because the Sigor is only 200 points, which is slightly less. Now, sticking with this theme, a unit of 3 Bulgors, which is, of course, the new name for Minotaurs, is that higher or lower than a Sigor?
What, 3 Bulgors?
Yep.
Higher or lower than a Sigor? Lower.
Well, again, you're right. That's 180 points.
Yes.
Right. Let's just pick a random page here.
Bulgors weren't that good, were they? Because your prosecutors managed to kill 1.5 of them.
They did hit back with quite some beastly intent, though, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. When they finally got their wounds through, it was deadly.
Right, so there's 180 points. How about a unit of 5 Doomfire Warlocks? Higher or lower than the Bulgors?
Oh, I like this game. Well, they've got 2 wounds each, and there's 5 of them. That makes 10 wounds versus 12 wounds. So could they be lower? But then they have magical attacks, shooting attacks. I would say they're about 200 points, so higher.
Well, I just looked away from the screen for a second there at the chat. But Doomfire Warlocks are 200 points for 5. So it's higher. Okay, next one. How about the Cauldron of Blood? Is that higher or lower than 5 Doomfire Warlocks?
Should it be higher? Probably not. Yes, it gives some bonuses, but it's pretty dire in combat. It's going to be higher in it because it's a big model. Yeah, higher.
It is 220 points.
Yes.
So it is higher. Okay, next one.
Yeah.
Let's pick a different page. Let's see if we can trip you up, shall we?
Mm.
So let's go over to Destruction. Here we go. So, how about 10 Savage Orc More Boys?
More boys? Is that what they're called now?
I believe those are just your average Savage Orcs.
I like that. More boys.
10 of them.
10 of them, 1 wound each. They get 1 attack if re-rolling ones because they've got the 2 weapons. Oh.
People in the audience are trying to help you out, by the way.
I'm not looking. 10 lower.
Lower, the amount of points you'll be paying for that unit is 120 points.
Yes.
So it is lower. Okay, let's try and catch you out now.
Retropia TV, welcome to the show, my friend.
Okay. Let's try this page.
Okay.
Okay. 10 skeleton warriors.
10 skeleton warriors. Are they cheaper than 10 savage boys at 120 points? Yes, they are going to be cheaper. Cheap as chips.
You are correct. They are 80 points. Okay, now how about this one? A necromancer. Higher or lower?
Now, 80 points. In the old rules, it would be like 60, maybe like 65 points for a level 1 wizard. I don't know. It's going to be higher, isn't it? Because they can summon more. Yeah, they're going to be higher.
Okay, necromancer is 120 points.
Yes.
So yes.
Wow.
Now, let's find the last one now. I'm going to make this a difficult one. Let's go to this random page here. Right. Okay, here we go. Saurus Eternity Warden.
Saurus Eternity Warden. Now, not being that familiar with Lizardmen stuff, he sounds like some kind of champion.
Higher or lower than a necromancer?
What was the necromancer?
120.
120. Oh, this warden, he's going to have about 5 or 6 wounds, isn't he? I would say it's close, but he's higher.
He is 140 points.
Oh, he's on fire!
So there you go, 100%. I think if people love that game and they find it highly entertaining, then we could bring that back each week.
I like that game. Talking of games, is it time for the one game everyone wants to see on this show?
The one game that you're going to struggle to top last week's offering, which was quite amazing.
I think you're mistaken, Andy, because what the hell is that this week is mind-bogglingly, is that even a word?
Mind-bogglingly.
That's the one.
So before you bring it up on the screen, though, are you going to tell us how many miniatures are contained within it?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7. So members of the audience, you're going to have to look at this image carefully, get those eyeballs nice and wide, maybe get a magnifying glass out or a telescope if you're one of those patrons who's allowed to use a telescope to view the show.
Right.
And we want to see some guesses.
Now, I'm going to do the song halfway after the image is shown because I can't actually remember the chords right now. Here it goes. What the hell is that?
Bum, bum.
With a Tomb King theme in honor of our dearly beloved departed friend Martin. Here it comes. There it is. What the hell is that? What models, and you have to name them specifically, are contained in this image that we dug up from the deserts of Egypt?
Looks kind of like the deserts of someone's garden shed, actually.
In the Southlands.
Right then, let's have the song while people are wrapping their brain around this.
What the hell is that? 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 Only Andy and Remington know. What the hell is that? 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 Only Andy and Remington know.
Well, so just to assess what we've got here, at least one of them is clearly upside down with a big blade.
That's so perceptive, Andy.
There's one there poking up from behind a wall with a big banner. There's a couple of giant, monstrous-looking skull heads that aren't necessarily 100% human.
It's clear that nitrous oxide was used on these models.
Yes, let's go with that. And it looks like the one on the left is kind of a hideous combination of 2 models or more, possibly. And then you've got something right there in the center, in the foreground as well, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
And to the left of that might have something as well. So let's see. We have our first guess. So are you ready, Mr. Remington?
Yes, if I can remember what they are myself.
which is always a challenge. So from Drunken_Elf, Casket of Souls, Tomb Guard, Hierophant, generic Tomb King on foot, Bone Giant, Ushabti.
2 points.
Ooh, that's less than I thought. Let's see. 2D Sick Wargaming says it's the contents of the skip behind GW. Christopher82 says it's National Treasure 4 starring Nicolas Cage.
Now, I've got to tell you guys that not all of these are Games Workshop painted models. All right? So there might be a couple of wee conversions going on just to astound you, dumbfound you.
We've got a guess here from Fernando Lima. Cetra, Bone Giant, Ushabti, Sandstalker.
1 point.
Then we've got a 100% legit guess from Dreddy. Charmander, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Pikachu, Wurmple, Butterfree, and Pidgeotto.
Oh, JD, you're spoiling us.
Yes, I don't think any of them are actually Pokemon. Although if you were playing that new Pokemon app and you aimed it at the screen right now, you might actually find one running about in those ruins.
I think it's already clear that this is vastly superior to last week's effort.
I don't know, because it did actually have your face poking out in that one.
That was good.
We've got a guess from Mr. YouTube Newbie. The Bone Giant, Necro Sphinx, Upside Down Tomb King, Skeleton Standard Bearer, Necro Architect.
Say them again?
Bone Giant, Necro Sphinx, Upside Down Tomb King, Skeleton Standard Bearer, Necro Architect.
2 points.
Slugger Boys WC3. Ushabti Crocodile variant. Tomb King with Sword and Shield. The Chariot Riders. The Torso of the Necro Sphinx. Legs of the Carrion. Casket of Souls. Shipperel Stalkers.
Ooh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points.
So is that just one away from being correct?
1 away.
Right, so Slugger Boys is in the lead so far. Let's see. Sebastian Blau, Necro Sphinx Torso, Bone Giant, Casket, Tomb King Hierophant, Sandstalker Carrion.
6 points.
So not quite as close. Let's see.
One of these models is very old.
Very, very old. Is that the one nobody's got so far?
Yes.
Right, so there's a bit of a clue for you. So while people are digesting that, do you want to give us another chorus or another little quick rendition of that song?
What the hell is that? 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 Only Andy and Remington know.
Okay. People are typing ferociously, I bet, right now. Furiously, feverishly, even.
I wonder if Vince Venturella, who's a big Tomb Kings fan, he's got this.
I bet he will if he's watching. Come on, folks. We're in need one more. I'm waiting for... Who was it that got the really wonderful guess? Was it Slugger Boys? Yes, it was, wasn't it? So at the moment, Slugger Boys WC3 is going to win unless somebody can get all 7 in the next few seconds, I'm going to say, because we're going to have to call a halt to this one. And he's going to be the winner. I'm going to assume it's a he with boys in the name, but you never know.
What's the prize?
What's the what?
What's the prize?
The prize this week, I think, is going to be a Balsa Wood membership.
No. I'll give you a big clue. All right, the guy upside down is the one that no one's got yet.
Ooh, so all the others were correct from Mr. Slugger Boys WC3. So it's only the upside down one with the big blade and the shield and the skirt that would actually be dangling the other way if he was upside down, exposing his skeletal groin. So it's lucky that he doesn't obey the rules of gravity there. Let's see. MC1 Gamer, I got your balsa wood right here. Well, I'm sure everyone owns at least one item made of balsa wood in their home. Come on, someone's got to get it.
And time's running out.
No, no one's going to get it. Just tell us what it is.
Well, it is a tomb prince.
Bum, 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 bum.
Let me show you the reveal. Am I still sharing?
Yes, but it's a white screen right now.
Oh, it's coming up. Don't worry. Here it is. That's the reveal. There you go. So you got the chariot rider there.
It hasn't popped up yet.
Oh, any moment.
With your notoriously slow Remington internet.
Oh, super fast Virgin. Come on. You not seeing that?
Nope.
Oh dear. Oh, sure.
Well, I think we're going to have to cut that short then. People get the idea. I think they could see most of the model for each one.
Can you see me now?
Nope.
Oh. Can you see me now?
Nope.
How
That
do you
could be a new game we play. Could you see me now?
How do you like me now?
Okay then. So, Mr. M, are you going to be acquiring the General's Handbook as well?
Can you see me?
Yes.
Oh. Am I acquiring the General's Handbook? Yeah, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it, and I'm also going to post everyone's prizes. £50 worth of Remington's Hordes models. Some of them, invaluable collector's item limited edition, are going to winners of the competition we did. And I know it's a bit late, but I've been flat out busy. But we've got a unicorn that's getting sent to Mickey Genver. Skeleton Flowers got something on his way to him. I think it might be an orc raider with a pig. Is that right?
I can't remember what prize he chose, actually.
Yes, got some goodies.
But I do have it in good authority that the overall winner of the competition, which was, of course, Mickey Genver, has received the trophy. It's currently just erecting some kind of huge structure to mount it on, to pose for a photo with it, because it is quite a mighty trophy. As people may have seen sneak previews of it, and it was quite a mammoth offering, which has been hand-signed by both of us as well, which boosts the value by at least 500%.
How about that? Can you see that now?
Yes.
There you go. There's the reveal. So as you can see, they're not Games Workshop painted, all of them, but that's a carrion there, and the legs were stolen. We've got a chariot rider there. We've got the sepulchral stalker. Is that a head variant on there? I don't know. We have the necrosphinx torso. We have the tomb prince, which is can't get that anymore. In fact, you can't get any of these anymore unless you're an eBay connoisseur. That's the casket of souls. They must have got that idea off Indiana Jones, right?
You would think.
It's like the Ark of the Covenant, isn't it?
I wonder if there are people's faces melting.
And is that an Ushabti or a bone giant? I can't remember.
I don't know.
I should know, really. But there you go. Here's the reveal. And there is Andy.
Wonderful. So, Mr. Rem, have you actually had a look at any of the info in the General's Handbook yet, despite not having the book? Have you been scouring the internet, looking at all the various video breakdowns people have been doing on it?
Nah, don't interest me. Don't interest me all that. I want to have it for myself, because otherwise you get other people telling you what to play and what's good and what's not, you know?
Well, one thing we don't want to happen, especially on this show, is that now that there are points, it's not just going to turn into the calculator hour where we start number crunching and figuring out the optimum builds and so on. What we're most likely to use the points for is to just have a rough guide for how big our game is going to be. If we say, okay, I've got this scenario planned out, I think it'll work well with about 1,000 points on it. Then you'd look at your list and think, okay, let's get roughly 1,000 points together, and I'll bring that. It'll just make things easier, won't it, to balance the games rather than just doing it by eye.
I'm really excited about this, because I think the last 3 or 4 games we've played, Andy, I felt a bit bad because I've had what looked like a lot more points values to what you had. And in fact, the last game I had with Mr. Reef was I had a massive force compared to his puny Sigmarines. But he actually still nearly won the game on the last turn. So it is about positional play.
Also, for some reason, whenever I'm playing a game that doesn't have points, I always give myself way too little stuff.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have an advantage. I'm just that kind of guy, because I'm so nice. So it's going to be handy to have all those point values there. And of course, there is the narrative section as well, which, having looked at bits of it, I'm not entirely sure we'd be able to make a huge amount of use of it. Because really, there's the kind of games that we play already. It allows people to play more kind of linked together games. So maybe we could take bits of it. But I think we already have enough creativity flowing around to come up with our own zany scenarios, don't we? And our own crazy little stories that work their way into the games.
I like it. I think at some point this summer, because I've got 6 weeks off, full of fun, full of gaming as well, but people should write in and propose scenarios for us to play out. That could be kind of cool.
Maybe they should. People who are patrons do already get some input on which armies we use, and I put it out there asking which piece of terrain we should buy next, which is where this came from, of course.
Nice.
Those Patreon funds. So people wanted to see some red hot Realm Gate portaling around the table action. So that's what we're going to deliver.
Now, a little while ago, Andy, I heard on the grapevine that Games Workshop were making some houses. You heard that?
Houses?
Yeah, it's the one thing that's missing, isn't it? Just like kind of abodes. Because they can be used for sort of multiple, games. The ones at the minute that you can buy are really expensive. But yeah, just like kind of oldie worldy looking houses.
Well, the way all their games have gone, you could say the same for 40k as well as Age of Sigmar. No battlefield looks like a place that someone recently lived. You wouldn't live just among lava flow with huge ancient ruins sprouting up in the middle of it. It's not like the old days of Warhammer Fantasy where you'd have little cottages and trees that you could imagine people living in.
It's got to go there at some point, hasn't it? Because we've got these mysterious places, but at some point, the war has got to come to the front door.
Well, we should know where people are living. I suppose occasionally you see things like dwarf fortresses in the old world. We haven't really seen that yet because the Dwarden, the real Dwarden, not those silly fire slayers, haven't really come out yet. So maybe they'll have kind of a big fortressy kind of feel to them.
Absolutely. And if I was a Celestian Prime, I wouldn't be meeting the red foe on the battlefields of volcanoes and lava. I'd be beaming down right on their places of residence, wouldn't you?
Maybe they do actually live in the lava. Skulls, blood, lava, all goes together, doesn't it?
And the other thing is, right, if Sigmar can beam down his warriors, surely you can beam them up again if they're losing.
Yes, well, not when they're losing, when they die. I don't know whether he actually beams them up to save them when they're losing or not.
Well, it would save him having to reforge them, wouldn't it?
I'm not sure whether he takes that into account.
Well,
if there are any fluff experts in there in the comments who can tell us whether Sigmar occasionally decides his team aren't doing very well, so he just pulls them off the battlefield and takes them home and gives them a stern talking to for not doing very well and then sends them back down again. I suppose it would save a little bit of their personality from being stripped as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oscar Dahlstrom says there were a lot of dwarf ruins in the books. Could be cool scenery. Yes, that's what I would like to see.
Now, on the subject of Dwarden, do you think, like they've done with those bone splitters, they're going to use the, old models, like the Iron Drakes? They're not that old, but or do you think they're going to come out with completely new designs?
I think it'll be more like the recent Sylvaneth release, the Dwarden, where they'll have some models that are still relevant, like the Dryads are, but then they'll have some that are completely new as well. The likes of the Iron Drakes will stay. and the older models will just disappear and be replaced with something new and crazy. That's what I think.
I'm thinking a lot of machinery, because the Fire Slayers are kind of like naked, you know, berserkers, aren't they, really? And you've got a big dragon thing. I think we need to, you know, come up with some crazy mechanics.
And we have been speculating recently on the different armies combining with the thing they love in Age of Sigmar. Like the Fire Slayers have been combined with gold actually in their bodies. And the Sylvaneth are like the elves combined with trees now. So of course the Dwarden are going to be very steampunkish, I think, with mechanical arms and such. And hopefully, finally, we'll get some giant dwarf unit, a big airship or a big giant golem or something.
Yeah, and I mean, let's head on over to elves. What do you think will become of the Dark Elves?
Well, we've seen ideas for that, haven't we, with the Silver Tower, of the direction they could be taking all the elves.
Yeah, I think they'd be kind of sworn enemies of the Fire Slayers, because if I was a Dark Elf, I wouldn't be worrying about all these you know, Blood Reavers and stuff. I'd be going straight for the Fire Slayers. You know, they're walking wallets, aren't they? They're covered in gold.
So you just mug Fire Slayers and just like chisel the gold out of their skin.
Yeah. Well, some Dark Elves, like Mengel Manhide, was famous for his man-flaying. So he could just adopt his skills to dwarves and be a rich man.
Hashtag Remington's Manflame. Trending worldwide right now. Let's see. Oscar Dahlstrom, machinery is the new Ironworld Arsenal faction. Yeah, with the war machines in there, but they don't really have much else at the moment, do they? We'll see if they do anything else with that.
What war machine comes to mind for you?
Something new, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I've always wanted to see a big airship. And they've, even in the old world, there were pictures of giant dwarf airships. They just never actually created a model.
You mean a Zeppelin?
Yes.
Ah, but you see, Titan Forge Miniatures already done that.
I don't think they'll be too concerned with them.
No. I was thinking, what about like a windmill?
A windmill?
Yeah.
Care to elaborate?
No. Just like a giant windmill, and it kind of, but it's got feet. So you can like move it forward, and it's like a barrier. It kind of like protects the dwarves a bit. And maybe it can like shoot a beam from the middle bit.
Yes. Let's go with that. A giant windmill with feet that walks forward and shoots a giant beam out of it.
Yeah. Well, look, there's rumours of golems on the wind, so why not a windmill?
Windmills on the wind. Any particular realm it would do better in? Which are the windiest realms?
I mean, you could have like a small version, couldn't you? And just call it like Miller Lite.
Okay. Comments on this. Dreddy says a windmill, and then she also says that whatever you smoked just kicked in.
Yeah, but you could double it up as scenery as well, couldn't you?
Yes.
I mean, you know, if you read your Cervantes, like Don Quixote thought a windmill was a giant and attacked it and got hurt. So surely, if it fooled Don Quixote, it would fool a bone splitter.
Well, if anyone has any suggestions for units that shouldn't really be units, then feel free to get them in. If you can beat the walking windmill. Mickey Jenver says the Kislev chicken-legged cottage.
I like it, a cottage on stilts.
Yeah, because you said you wanted to see more houses, more abodes.
Yeah. Stilts houses were brilliant because then you could still put models underneath them. They wouldn't have to go round the houses, would they?
And the house could like fire out swords from its chimney.
Yeah, but that's not where the troops are, so that'd be useless, wouldn't they? Because the troops are on the ground.
Yeah, it fires them into the air, and then they explode and like shower down lots of tiny swords onto people.
Yeah, but it's a bit inaccurate. What if they put the chimney instead of windows? They had chimneys. So they'd be like cannon chimneys shooting out swords and spikes.
certainly could do that, yes. From drunken_elf. I'm from the Netherlands. We don't do walking windmills, only if dwarves are wearing clogs. Clog-wearing dwarves, what do you think?
Well, I think they should do a giant foot. That should be the foot of Mork or the foot of Gork. And that's the variant, you see. What a great pack. That's a good dual pack, right? You've got a giant foot, and it kind of changes its pose, and it could be Mork or Gork, but that's it. It's just a big foot.
Like the big Monty Python foot.
Yeah, but you could like put your feet in it and buy it in different sizes, so it could be functional.
Walking around on the gaming table is never a good idea. I have witnessed what happens firsthand when I was but a child. Dreddy has a really good suggestion here. A piggy barn with legs and a grease cannon and wings.
A grease cannon? That sounds like a halfling invention. I like it.
It sounds like any orifice on the Great Unclean One, to be honest.
There's a picture of someone who's posted it on some Facebook page. He's put his Great Unclean One Forge World model, and he's giving it a bath because he's cleaning off the plastic, which you kind of need to do, otherwise it's really hard to paint. Keeps slipping off the model. But you liked it, Andy. I'm wondering if you could show everyone it, because it's really cool. I think he should leave it. He's put his Great Unclean Nurgle monster thing, Great Demon, in a bubble bath, and it's sort of like cool.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it now, since Facebook is vast and sprawling.
Oh.
But if we find it, we will post it on the Facebook group. If anyone hasn't joined the Andy and Rem Show Facebook group, you probably should.
Nice.
And we'll put it up there if we can find it. That would have been an interesting category, wouldn't it, for the Golden Weasel Awards? Miniatures bathing.
Yeah.
So if someone took a professionally painted, let's say, Bloodthirster to the beach and just left it in the sea.
I like it. And for those of you that aren't, confident about your painting, maybe you could take a photo of yourself in a bubble bath.
Maybe you could. I'm not sure we want to put that idea out to the audience, really. Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah, if anyone wants to post a picture of themselves in the bubble bath to Mr. Remington personally, then he will gladly accept them.
Entitle it Nurgle's Garden.
Yeah, you can see some nice knobbly knees of people sticking up through the bubbles. Hopefully that's all you're going to see. Let's see. Bazooka J. Rambo, what is Rem asking for? Yeah, people think you've gone a little bit crazy tonight.
Sorry, it's just been a long year at school, man. And tomorrow's my last day.
Bum, bum, bum. You know what that means? More time for battle reports.
You know that, and RenCon is going to happen. Even if it's just me that turns up, I don't care. RenCon is going to happen, and I'm thinking late July, August, at Warhammer World. Come and join me for some Warhammer fun.
RemCon / Andy Palooza. The time is becoming imminent, since Mr. Rem does have more free time coming up. So it would be silly to waste it, wouldn't it?
It would. So what we're going to do, Andy, is when you get a minute, is do another one of your special polls on Facebook with a few dates. And the date that becomes the most popular is the date that we will set. As long as it doesn't clash with any big Games Workshop endorsed events, it should be pretty cool. We're going to book out maybe 4, 5, 6 tables and engage in a day's worth of play. That's going to be great. Me and Andy are going to come up with some special scenarios, and it's just going to be amazing.
It's going to be wall-to-wall A-list adventures.
That's right. And the Games Workshop staff are expecting lots of groupies to come. That's their words, not mine. So,
the only reason we didn't have any with us last time was because we didn't announce we were going to be there. Because we needed to actually get a battle report done and pictures taken urgently, so we couldn't be constantly getting harassed by all the young people that gravitate towards celebrities like us. You should see our social media accounts. Retro or Retropia TV, Dwarves versus Dark Elves Part 2 at Warhammer World.
Oh, that's my favourite battle. That was brilliant, with the big tower and the sacrifice thing going on at the bottom.
Yes.
That was so cool.
Did we do a sequel to that game? I think we did, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
We did one here where the Dark Elves were trying to invade the dwarf homelands or something.
I think I got a win, with that. I think I might have got the win. I lost at Warhammer World, but it was really good fun. I just ran out of turns because you had to destroy the tower, which had 50 wounds, and you just bombarded it.
And your armies can become befuddled quite rapidly in Age of Sigmar, and that happened to you. I think 2 of your units spent most of the game befuddled, didn't they?
That's right. I got some satisfaction out of in that game, and that's the great thing about losing a battle, is that you just create your own win conditions, really, if you know you're going to lose. I mean, mine was, my sisters slaughtered, we're going to annihilate Andy's miners, and they did that. A kind of a minor victory, you might say.
Now, we've got an interesting comment here. Drunken_elf, do you have spare armies? I might be tempted to come to England. I think Mr. Remington has about 8 spare armies.
I've got whatever you need, pal. I've got my Khorne army coming. I've got just a random Chaos army. I've got Beastmen. I've got Dwarves, Dark Elves, Wood Elves, Sylvaneth, Halflings, although I haven't made rules for them yet. I've got Ogres. I've got Undead, Skeletons and Vampires and Little Monsters. And
so the answer is yes. We can sort something out if anyone has to attend and doesn't have an army or can't bring an army with them. Now, Mr. M, I don't know if you saw the entirety of last week's show, but we were discussing uses for halflings in Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, we did.
Suggesting that maybe they could be edible. What do you think?
Halflings could be edible?
Yes, like they hang around with the ogres. Because we were talking about how the armies are combined with the thing they love most when they've been reincarnated in Age of Sigmar. And halflings love food, so they just become food, like little gingerbread.
You could make a halfling cake, couldn't you? A big cake with a halfling sticking out of it. You could like convert a boar, and then like have a halfling's head sticking out his bum or something like that, and it'd be just a giant feast. Halfling boar.
And the ogres would eat little halflings to get bonuses each turn.
That's a great scenario, and it's a good way of getting the halflings out, isn't it?
It's a good way of getting them into someone's belly, definitely. Hashut FOD says, can you have a drink and play at Warhammer World?
Yes, you can. There you go.
You certainly can. Bugman's Bar.
Yeah.
I think Bugman's Bar, does that closes before the gaming hall, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. You can bring your own drinks. You can have drinks from the bar and take it through into the gaming area. Of course, in the gaming area, you've got all the shops as well, so it's pretty hard not to buy stuff while you're there. You might want to go and look at the gallery. So all these things we can do at RenCon. It'll be a right laugh.
Are you allowed to take alcohol into the gaming hall?
I'm sure you could. There's ways and means, Andy. Always ways and means.
I don't know, but the bar's quite big, and there's the outdoor balcony part as well.
Yeah.
Everyone needs a break from hot, sweaty wargaming now and then.
Oh, you do? I get like mentally exhausted after one game.
You get mentally exhausted after deployment, usually. Maybe not anymore, though, with points, because we won't have to be painstakingly eyeing up the armies and deciding whether they're equal anymore.
Yeah. I mean, when now the points are out, you're going to get the obligatory people coming out and saying this combination's really good, and, they kind of work together because he can put that spell on them while they get that bonus, and then it's kind of like, what do you call that?
Synergy.
Synergy, yeah. You like synergy, don't you?
It's fun, but only to a certain extent. Because if you go too crazy with it and your army can just put out an obscene number of wounds, then it's going to be a bit one-sided.
Yeah.
I think it's good if you use small synergies all across the army. You don't have to go for the big, ridiculous ones. Like, here's a model that gives this particular unit twice as many attacks. So I'm going to take 100 of them, and they're just going to be shooting you with 200 or 400 shots in turn 1. That's not going to be fun, really, is it?
Yeah, synergies. The thing is with synergy syndrome, is that you get like, you kind of, it's like when you play chess, you've got a particular sequence of moves where you can take their queen, and it really pisses your opponent off. And it's like, once you know that person is going to do that synergy, it kind of like, that's it then, isn't it? That's your big battle plan out the window. So I think you need to be synergizing every game in different ways, not just have one tactic in mind.
Yes, because that's definitely the way 8th edition went, isn't it? There was kind of the, you must build your Vampire Lord this way, or there's no point taking it.
Yeah.
You must build your Doom Bull this way, or there's no point taking it.
Yeah.
And if you didn't do it, then your opponent would, and you would just auto lose almost.
Yeah.
So we don't want it to be a list building game. We just want the list building to help us balance the games.
Yeah, it is fun. It is fun building lists, I must admit. I'm sure. Is there like a list building app like Army Builder?
I don't think there's one yet. I imagine they will probably create one.
Okay.
You would think so, wouldn't you? If they're going to have point values, they might as well have an app for it. Once everyone's bought the General's Handbook, obviously. If they do it now, then people might just ignore the book because all the points would be there. So maybe somewhere down the line they'll have the app. Or maybe they'll have it, but it'll cost you 1 pence less than the General's Handbook. The way they go with their digital downloads. So technically it's cheaper. I wonder why that is. Maybe by law, a digital version has to be cheaper. So they just go the absolute minimum.
I don't know why it's not a heck of a lot cheaper, man. I don't know.
Quite outrageous.
All right, Andy, it's kind of like time for me to think about going to bed, boys.
It is. I think your brain was possibly starting to get fried about 20 minutes ago when we were talking about that windmill walking along, shooting lasers at people. I think that should have been the sign that it's past Remington's bedtime. So, if you would like to prepare some outro music for us.
Well, I'm going to try something different this week.
Well, while you're preparing that, of course, I'm going to thank the audience for being with us tonight, especially all the regular viewers and all the patrons that are in there, all the dozens of them, no doubt. And don't forget to like the video, of course, and when it's over, if you want one of your comments to be permanently etched into the annals of history, then make sure you refresh the page at the end and leave a permanent comment. If you want to tell us how amazing the show is and that people should watch it all the way through 4 times in a row and click all the adverts on it, of course, which probably adds about 1 pence, which we can then put towards a digital copy of one of the GW publications. With that, it's time to turn things over to Mr. Remington.
All right, now I'm going to try something new, and we always like to push the boundaries on this show. It could go horribly wrong, but who cares? I'm going to play a chord. Each chord is going to be accompanied by the name of somebody watching this channel right now and that has commented in the comments box. Then I'm going to change chord, and I'm going to change the name. And let's see how far I can go with that. Sound good?
Let's just find out, shall we?
Or, Andy, you read out the names and I play a different chord. That could be good because you've got your Witchfinder General voice.
Okay, let me just pull up the active users list.
Right.
Okay, in some kind of dramatic tone, I will read out someone's name. So if you want to get into this song, you better comment right now to get on the list.
All right. I'm going to play a little. What about if I play a little melody after you say each name? And that way they can have their own little theme tune, right?
Yes.
All right.
So, okay, I am pulling up the list. Here we go. Gloomdready Gaming. Graham Rigg. DJ Rambo. Matthias Schaefer. Mickey Genver. Oscar Dahlstrom. Ramvi. Retropia TV. Ruhak. Skeleton Flower. TFF Baz. YouTube newbie. Drunken_elf. I think that's everybody. Well, good night, folks.